Chapter 76. I know you're lost, I know you're hurting, but honey, his heart is filled with frost. Being with him will just be disconcerting. Jenny put the key in the door to her student apartment. It wasn't locked. She stopped short. Had she forgotten to lock it when she left? Had Boris, who had the apartment next door, opened her door for some reason? He had a key in case she should look herself out. Or a lump of ice grew in her stomach. She swallowed. Had Jari found out where she lived? Was he looking for revenge? Cautiously, she opened the door, ready to close it quickly again. Someone was in her apartment. She was just about to close the door and run when she heard a familiar voice. Jenny? She exhaled. The ice in her stomach vanished. She went in and sat down heavily on the chair that stood right next to the door. Wearily, she asked, "What are you doing here?" Keivan, who had been sitting at her desk, approached her. "I had to talk to you. Since you don't answer when I call, I came here. Boris let me in. What have you done with your hair? Have you been at a costume party?" He stared at her pitch black hair. She pulled her hand through it. She was still wearing her leather jacket and boots. She just couldn't be bothered undressing. "I've just been to the hairdresser. It wasn't a drop-in." "So you dyed it black?" Should have seen the hairdresser's face when I said I wanted black hair. She explained that it wouldn't suit me, said it doesn't match my skin tone. I told her that black matches my soul. She laughed, but there was no joy in her laugh. "Jenny, what's happened?" He approached her and started removing her boots. She didn't answer him, but she let him take off her boots. "Well, I'm here because I want to warn you." He pulled down the zipper on her leather jacket. She put her hand on his. "Stop it." He let go and backed away. "I was with my parents at the Iranian Association meeting and I heard some guys talking about Diego. You must be careful with him. He's dangerous. He's often involved in violence. Apparently, he often interferes if immigrants are abused. Then he participates, but on their side, so to speak, much like with me. Sometimes he attacks people afterwards as well. He's a dangerous guy. You have to be careful." She laughed that weird laugh again. Her mouth laughed, her body shook. After a while, the laughter sounded more like crying. He approached her, but she pushed the arm he was trying to put around her away. "I told you to stop that!" She stopped shaking and sobbing. "Your warning is too late." "What's too late? What do you mean? Jenny, what else did they say? About Diego?" "Well, they saw him as a hero, a guy who can handle all fights even if he has many opponents, like a kind of superhero. His father is apparently an immigrant from a Spanish-speaking country, I'm not sure which one. His father lives in Göteborgsposten, but no one seems to know where Diego lives." She smiled lightly. She knew. "In addition, he seems to make money illegally. Some said he was stealing and selling motorcycles, others thought he might be selling drugs. In any case, you need to stay away. The police are looking for him." "Why haven't they caught him yet then?" "Nobody knows where he lives. He doesn't have a job. He is avoided getting caught by driving faster than the police. But the biggest reason, according to one of the guys at the meeting, is that the police don't find it that important to catch him. He has defended or avenged the immigrants so often and so much in Göteborgsposten that the number of assault cases has decreased. In addition, it seems he's introduced fair fighting as a concept. Since he always fights alone and never in a group and never kicks someone lying down, attitudes have changed. If you are several against one or hit under the belt, you're considered a coward in Göteborgsposten. In some ways, the police are happy about what he does. He's a good bad guy." Yeah, something like that. "Now, please tell me what you meant by saying that it's too late. What happened? What has he done?" She finally stood up and took off her leather jacket. Keivan shouted her name and stretched out his hand. She followed his gaze and saw the torn blouse. "Oh yeah, right." She laughed shortly. "No wonder the hairdresser was staring at me strangely. What happened?" "Please, just be quiet for a moment." She took off her blouse and put on a sweater instead. Then she saw one of Keivan's sweaters in the closet. She threw it to him, or rather at him. Then she sat down on her bed. She tucked her hands into the sleeves. Then she told him. She told him she had seen Jari on the tram. She told him that she and Diego had gone to Kortedala and that they had beaten Jari and torn off his trousers. She didn't talk about the knife. She just couldn't. When she stopped talking, they sat quietly opposite each other. He didn't know what to say. All he could do was repeat her name. Jenny, Jenny, Jenny. It irritated her. To interrupt him, she continued, "The worst thing was when I realized he was just a pathetic little boy. A lonely kid who sits and drinks beer a few hundred meters from his home and who pees his pants when he gets scared. He's just a misfit, not the monster who broke your jawbone." Those who become monsters are probably pathetic to start with. He could see how badly she felt about what she had done, but he couldn't come up with anything to make her feel better. "Jenny, you have to get out of this. You must stop seeing Diego." She looked at him and shook her head. "You don't understand, Kevin. You don't understand at all." She looked out the window without really seeing. "There's no one else I can be with. He's the only one I know who has an even darker soul than I do."